You've been betrayed. You've trusted people who vanished when you needed them most. You gave loyalty, and in return, you got silence. Or worse, sabotage. In this video, we confront a truth most men are too soft to accept. That in politics, in business, in life, friendship is a mask, not a shield. In a world ruled not by love, but by interests, the greatest mistake one can make is to believe in permanent allyist or permanent affection. You are taught to build friendships, to seek loyalty, to expect others to stand by you. But I tell you this, such beliefs are not only naive, they are dangerous. This is not a message for the faint of heart. This is a truth for the powerful. And the truth is simpler. You call them friends. You believe their latter means loyalty. You think that because they stood with you during the harvest, they will stay through the winter. But let me open your eyes. Let me say what the world avoids, what they fear to admit. Friendship, in most cases, is not built on love. It is built on convenience action. You are not loved, you are used. And while that might sound cruel, it is one of the most practical truths you must embrace if you wish to rule your life instead of being ruled by it. Observe how men behave. They draw near those who shine, those with influence, wealth, opportunities, or status. They speak of loyalty, but only when that loyalty is to their advantage. When you rise, they cheer for you. But when you fall, they vanish. And in their silence, they reveal their true nature. Friendship, in its purest form, is a rare and fragile thing. And for a prince, or any man who seeks power, it is almost non-existent. The majority of those who surround you do so because they are drawn to your value, not your soil. They are allies of fortune, not companions of hardship. Let us not lie to ourselves. Even the dog wags its tail not out of love, but out of expectation. For food, for comfort, for protection. So too do men perform their acts of kindness. They serve their own interests by aligning with yours. That's not loyalty, it's leverage. Now consider this: strip yourself of your power. Lose your position. Remove the benefits others gain from your presence. Then watch who remains. Watch how quickly warm smiles turn cold. How quickly invitations disappear. How easily affection fades when there's nothing left to extract. This is not personal. This is nature. It is in man's nature to pursue what serves him, not what burdens him. Do not condemn it. Use it. For once you see the game, you are no longer its victim. A man who believes he is loved for who he is, without questioning what he provides, becomes vulnerable. He confides too much, he trusts too easily, and he places his future in the hands of those who would drop him without hesitation if a better offer came along. You must understanding, the word friend is often a disguise. It covers ambition, envy, opportunism, and quiet contempt. Not everyone who smiles at you wishes you well. Some smile to disarm you, to make you lower your guard, to make you believe that your interests are shared. But in reality, they are only aligned for now. This is why a ruler must not build his foundation on affection. He must not govern through the hope of friendship. For friendship dissolves in crisis. It melts in fear. It evaporates when challenged by temptation. The wise man, the Machiavellian, does not seek true friendship. He studies human interest. He asks not who likes me, but who benefits from me. He does not get blinded by shared meals, late-night conversations, or warm embraces. He sees the structure behind the sentiment, the transaction beneath the smile. And when he no longer serves a purpose to the other, he is already prepared. For he knew from the beginning, this was not loyalty. It was a deal, a silent agreement dictated not by heart, but by self-interest. He does not beg for loyalty, he commands respect. Because respect, unlike love, can be maintained by force, by fear, by strategy. But love is a shifting wind, warm today, gone tomorrow. So he keeps his heart guarded. He trusts slowly. He gives nothing for free. And he never expects permanence in something as unstable as human affection. This is how the powerful survive, not by believing in the myth of eternal friendship, but by understanding the rules of utility. You are either valuable or invisible. When you are useful, you are wanted. When you are no longer needed, you are forgotten. And so the game continues, without apology, without emotion, without regret. It is not enough to wield power. You must appear harmless while doing it. And this is where the illusion of friendship becomes one of your greatest tools. You see, the world is governed not by truth, but by perception. Men do not fear what they cannot see. They fear what they suspect. And so, the most dangerous man is not the one who looks like a tyrant, but the one who looks like a friend. The mistake weak men make is believing they must be sincere to be trusted. But the strong man understands this sincerity is a performance. Friendship is a mask. You wear it not to show your heart, but to hide your intention. And the more convincing your performance, the more disarmed your enemies become. The more they trust you, the more blind they become to your strategy. When you appear friendly, approachable, agreeable, even soft, others begin to confide in you. They begin to believe that your interests match theirs. They lower their guard. They share their secrets. They show you their hands before they see yours. And in this vulnerability, they become predictable, controllable, and easy to outmaneuver. People crave comfort. They gravitate toward those who reflect familiarity, kindness, warmth. So you give them exactly that, not because you believe in it, but because you know what it earns you. Access, information, influence. The illusion of loyalty, when used properly, is more powerful than actual loyalty. Because while real loyalty demands sacrifice, the illusion demands nothing from you, except patience and performance. Your smile becomes your shield. Your laughter becomes your disguise. You wear the face of a friend while thinking like a general. And every handshake becomes a silent agreement, not of affection, but of calculated positioning. Understand this: politics is not warfare in the open. It is warfare disguised as dinner. It is betrayal hidden behind polite conversation. It is dominance exercised through subtle charm. Those who rise do not rise by being honest. They rise by mastering the performance of loyalty, while maintaining absolute control over their inner world. You do not need to trust others. You only need them to trust you. You do not need to offer sincerity. You only need them to believe you are sincere. And this is what makes you untouchable. Because while others are distracted by what they see, you are always watching what they do not. Appearing friendly allows you to infiltrate circles you otherwise would be excluded from. It lets you sit at tables where plans are made. It invites you into conversations where information flows. And from this position, you can choose when to act, whom to manipulate, and when to strike. It is better to be underestimated than feared. Fear brings resistance, but friendliness invites openness. And the man who is invited in has the power to burn the house down from within, without ever being seen as the threat. This does not mean you abandon strategy. On the contrary, it means every word, every smile, every moment of silence is deliberate. You observe how others respond. You notice who speaks too quickly, who seeks approval, who flatters unnecessarily. And you collect this data not for amusement, but for future use. Because the man who appears to be everyone's friend is the one who holds the sharpest knife. And no one ever sees it coming. Remember, people will always believe what they want to believe. They want to believe in friendship, in loyalty, in emotional safety. You let them. You feed that belief. Because while they live in illusion, you operate in reality. And that reality is built on control, on advantage, on unseen leverage. By the time they realize you were never their friend, it's too late. You've already taken what you needed. You've already moved on. And they are left wondering how someone who seemed so loyal, so warm, so trustworthy could have outplayed them so effortlessly. Every man has a price. That is not a saying. It is a law as old as power itself. And if you do not know the price of the men around you, then you do know the men around you at all. You may think they are loyal. You may believe they are different, that they stand by you because of who you are or how you've treated them. But that belief is your weakness, because when the right offer comes, and it always comes, the mask falls, the friend turns, the illusion dies. The powerful man does not live in fantasy. He deals in reality, and reality is this: loyalty is often a matter of cost. When it costs them nothing, they are loyal. When the price is small, they remain near. But raise the stakes, introduce temptation, threaten their comfort, and you will discover that even the closest friend, the one who swore to stand beside you, will sell his allegiance for the right gain. A prince must never wait to be betrayed. He must create the conditions in which the truth reveals itself before it becomes dangerous. He must test the waters, simulate the threat, introduce subtle friction, and observe. Because betrayal, when it comes unannounced, is devastating. But betrayal that you anticipate, that you engineer, that you predict, is a weapon you now hold. When someone praises you, do not assume it is love. It may simply mean you are useful today. When someone defends you, do not mistake it for honor. It may only be self-preservation. The test is this: what would they do if defending you damaged them? What would they choose if supporting you meant they lose something? That is when their price appears, and you must see it, not with emotion, but with precision. Study their ambitions. Listen not just to what they say, but to what they desire. Power, attention, wealth, validation, safety. Each man reveals his currency in time. You must collect this knowledge. Keep it stored like ammunition. Because the one who knows another's price holds the power of leverage, and the one who does not becomes leverage himself. You see, betrayal is rarely born out of hatred. It is born out of calculation. Most men do not betray you because they dislike you. They betray you because something better was offered. A higher position, a richer reward, a safer path. And because you failed to prepare for it, you are left with a shattered illusion and no counterplay. That is not their fault. That is your blindness. A Machiavellian does not trust behavior, he trusts patterns. He watches how a man acts when no one is watching. He pays attention to envy, to silence, to glances that last too long, to compliments that arrive too frequently. And more than anything, he watches how people act when pressure appears, when uncertainty enters the room, when another offers them more than you ever did, because that is when their true allegiance will speak. Never position yourself in a way where your power relies on the goodwill of others. That is not power. That is submission. You may call them friends, but understand, each one has a hidden number in their mind, a point where their loyalty ends and their self-interest begins. That number may not have been reached yet, but the day will come. The offer will be made. The situation will shift. And if you are unprepared, if you believed in the illusion of eternal loyalty, then you will be outmaneuvered by the very person you once defended. That is the cost of living in hope instead of calculation. That is the result of loving the idea of friendship more than respecting the reality of power. Control begins with clarity. You must be cold in your observation, ruthless in your analysis. Understand that everyone around you is constantly measuring their position, constantly calculating whether staying near you is the most profitable option. Your task is not to stop them. Your task is to stay one move ahead, to hold the leash they do not see, to become the one who names the price, not the one who pays it. Your enemies cannot hurt you the way your friends can. The enemy is visible. You know where they stand. You know their intentions. You prepare for their attacks. But the friend, he walks beside you. He knows your secrets. He holds your trust. He smiles when you win. He offers his shoulder when you fall. And precisely because of this closeness, it is his blade that cuts the deepest. The most catastrophic betrayal will never come from the outside. It will come from within your cycle, from the very hand you once believed would protect you. Julius Caesar was not brought down by the legions of Rome, but by the senators he dined with. Brutus was not a stranger, he was a companion. That is the curse of false comfort. It blinds the powerful, softens the strong, makes even the most ruthless believe that loyalty can be guaranteed by closeness. But closeness breeds contempt, and contempt concealed in silence is the most fatal poison a man can drink. People resent proximity to power. Not always openly, but in quiet ways. The friend who walks behind you may smile, but often he wonders why he is not in your place. He watches the throne and asks why it is not his. He sees your victories and measures them against his own failures. Envy lives in your shadow, and the longer it sits there, the more dangerous it becomes. This is why a prince must never reveal everything, even to those who claim to love him. Trust, when given without calculation, becomes a weapon in another's hands. The more they know, the more they can use. The more you confess, the more you expose. And in a world where loyalty bends under pressure, exposure is weakness. Your weaknesses, your regrets, your insecurities. These must remain your own, not because you are cold, but because you are aware. The wise man keeps layers around his core. What he reveals is only what serves a purpose. Even those closest to him are kept slightly outside the gate. They are fed what they need, never what they want. Because the moment they see all of you, the moment they believe they understand you, they stop respecting you. Familiarity breeds not love, but contempt. And from contempt comes ambition. From ambition, betrayal. Your friend knows when you are tired. He knows when you doubt yourself. He hears your fears, sees your missteps, notices when your guard is down. He does not have to destroy you in public. He only has to speak a few words in the right ear. He only has to sow doubt, whisper half-truths, shake the image of your perfection in front of others. And he can undo in days what you built in years, without drawing a single blade. That is the danger of misplaced trust. It is not that people are evil. It is that people are weak. And weakness, when coupled with opportunity, becomes betrayal. Never assume a friend will resist temptation because they say they love you. Assume they will act in their own interest when it matters most. And if you have not prepared for that moment, you are the one who will fall. Keep your circle tight, but your secrets tighter. Share your victories, but protect your strategies. Let others believe they are close to you, but never allow them access to your true self. Let them think they know your mind. While your mind stays hidden behind a wall they will never breach. The Machiavellian understands that betrayal is not an accident. It is a strategy of the weak disguised as a reaction to opportunity. When you are powerful, you are surrounded by men who want what you have. Some will challenge you openly. Those are not the ones to fear. The ones to fear are the ones who praise you too often, who agree too quickly, who mirror your thoughts like a shadow. Because they are not supporting you, they are studying you. They are learning how you operate. They are waiting for the right moment, the perfect fracture, the one misstep they can exploit. And when that moment arrives, they strike. Not because they always intended to, but because you made it too easy. In power, paranoia is not a flaw. It is a survival instinct. The man who rules with an open heart invites the dagger to his chest. The man who rules with caution, with silence, with suspicion, he endures. He sees betrayal before it manifests. He cuts ties before the rope turns into a noose. He expects the wound before the knife ever touches skin, because he knows, deep in his bones, that no betrayal is more complete than the one delivered by the friend. You were not born to be rescued. You were not created to be supported, carried, or saved by others. The most dangerous belief a man can hold is the belief that someone else will fight for him, speak for him, defend him when the storm arrives. Because once that illusion fades, what you are left with is the only ally you ever truly had: yourself. There is a reason why the most powerful men in history walked alone. It was not because they hated others, but because they understood what others could never provide. True, unshakable, ruthless independence. That is the throne that cannot be taken, the fortress that cannot be stormed. It is built not on affection, not on bonds, but on discipline, strategy, and the relentless refusal to need anyone. The moment you stop depending on friends is the moment you begin depending on your own will. And that transformation changes everything. You are no longer manipulated by guilt. You are no longer controlled by favors. You are no longer paralyzed by the fear of being abandoned. Because now, even if the entire world turns against you, you are unmoved. You do not fall. You adapt. You rebuild. You continue. To the sentimental man, that sounds cold. To the weak man, it sounds lonely. But to the one who understands power, it sounds like freedom. Because only when you need nothing from others can you never be betrayed. Only when you expect nothing from them can you never be disappointed. And only when you stand alone can you command others without depending on them. The world respects the man who walks forward with no crutches. They may not like him, but they cannot ignore him. He is not owned by flattery. He is not softened by emotional games. He is feared, not for his cruelty, but for his clarity. You cannot tempt a man who has disciplined his desires. You cannot control a man who no longer seeks comfort. You cannot destroy a man who has already prepared himself for isolation. When others seek alliances, you study leverage. When they search for belonging, you sharpen your skill. When they cry over loyalty, you are building strategy. The Machiavellian mind does not mourn the absence of support. It celebrates the removal of liabilities. For every person you do not depend on is one less person who can collapse your empire from within. Ruthless independence means you no longer confuse attention with admiration. You no longer interpret proximity as trust. You no longer need someone to understand you, validate you, or protect you. Because now you are the weapon, the shield, the strategy, all in one. There is no greater position of power. It is this mindset that separates the rulers from the ruled. The world is full of men who are liked. It is ruled by those who are necessary. And necessity does not come from being friendly. It comes from being formidable. From being the one who delivers results, makes decisions, takes the burden, and asks for nothing in return. Even those who claim to love you will subconsciously test your strength. The more you show you cannot stand alone, the more they will doubt you, even if they smile in your face. Dependence is weakness, and weakness attracts vultures. Strength is solitude, and solitude forces others to respect what they cannot control. Do not confuse ruthless independence with arrogance. Arrogance demands recognition. Independence demands nothing. It does not beg. It does not plead. It does not wait for applause. It simply moves, silently, strategically, like a shadow across the battlefield, unnoticed until it strikes. The man who builds himself alone becomes untouchable. He is not reckless, but prepared. He is not loud, but deliberate. He listens more than he speaks. He studies more than he reacts. And when he does act, his actions do not rely on permission, support, or validation. They come from within, from the cold, clear certainty that he has everything he needs inside his own mind, his own hands, his own code. So now, the veil has been lifted. You have seen what most men never dare to facing, that friendship, as it is commonly understood, is often a lie, an illusion built on usefulness, on proximity, on the fragile currency of convenience. You've learned that behind the laughter, behind the shared memories and kind words, lie motives, ambitions, hidden calculations. Not all, perhaps, but enough to destroy a man who forgets the nature of power. You've seen that the mask of friendship is a weapon, that people will pretend loyalty not to serve you, but to study you, to gain access, to find the soft spot behind your armor. You've seen how betrayal always walks with familiarity, that the sharpest daggers come not from across the battlefield, but from across the dinner table. And most importantly, you've seen what must be done. You must walk forward not with hope, but with awareness, not with a heart wide open, but with a mind sharpened like a blade. You must train yourself to recognize the price of those around you, and never pay it. To observe, to anticipate, to control, not through love, but through understanding. And above all, you must build yourself so completely, so ruthlessly, that no friendship is needed to survive, to rise, to reign. When you are no longer dependent, you are no longer vulnerable. When you no longer seek loyalty, you begin to command it, not by sentiment, but by strength. Because in the end, the world does not reward the one who is most loved. It rewards the one who is least broken when love disappears. Power belongs to the one who sees the game, plays it without apology, and never forgets no one is your friend. They are only with you, for now.